Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Bat Chat. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Dan too.
And today, no, he's Bat Dance. It's Bat Dance.
Bat Dance.
It's Bat Dance. And
I was lying.
And Bat Cat.
I don't know who Dan's News is. Who's he?
I gotta tell you.
Oh, hey guys, I'm Dan.
When I announced, and we haven't gotten to start posting it yet because I'm still waiting for a costume. But when I announced the sequel to Spawn here, Batcat 48-Hour Halloween, I keep meaning to tell you this, Dan, I was really worried that you would be upset that I came up with Batcat because you do Bat Dance. I was mortified because I didn't even think about it until I already had written like the prologue and had it, some stuff in the can, and I was like, oh no, Dan's gonna think I'm ripping him off.
Oh my gosh! Why? What? How is that ripping me off? I probably ripped other people off by doing that. I'm not the first person to put on a Batman mask and say I'm Batman.
Yeah,
so don't worry, it's in all of us.
Not that I had a whole character with it or anything, but
that's true. Well, every Batman fan grows up wanting to put on that cape and cowl and be Batman himself, and by golly, you do it, Cap.
Thanks, buddy. Except I do it with a '60s Batman suit. I don't really know anybody else that does that.
Oh, you're doing a '60s Batman suit?
Yeah.
That's incredible. You are the best.
Oh, thanks, man. Now, I've always wanted to ask you this question about Bat Dance. Is he perpetually drunk, or is that just his personality?
Oh, I think he's I think he's a lot like the Batman in this series. He's incredibly incompetent and very lucky.
No, this Batman is not incompetent.
He's not incompetent, but he does on occasion.
He's talking about last episode where he somehow or rather flies a plane blind, and he should be dead.
Yes, and he also developed the thing that was the problem in the first place.
Right, and then he tied it to his own brain, which does not seem like the smartest thing in the world. But anyway, today, Bat Dance and I are going to be tackling the Demon's Quest, the first part of the Demon's Quest, getting in Ra's al Ghul, and it's Ra's al Ghul in this show.
It is Ra's al Ghul. Well, that's the thing was I had forgotten growing up that his name was Ra's in the TV show, and so when they were doing Ra's in Batman Begins and all that stuff, I'd seen the trailers, and they said Ra's al Ghul, and so I was talking to my friend about it, and I said Ra's al Ghul in front of him, and he went, no, Ra's al Ghul, and I was like, all right, Billy, whatever, and just moved on. But that always stuck out in my head, and I forgot. And then I was watching the animated series years later, and I was like, oh crap!
So I don't know if you know this, but
we
have Ra's al Ghul in Gotham this year. And they did a big cliffhanger with him at the end of last season, and I love who they've got playing him. It's Dr. Bashir from DS9.
Yeah, Dr. Bashir. Yes, Alexander
Siddig, whose original name before he changed it was Siddig Affedel. I actually have his autograph as Siddig Affedel. And
oh, really? I remember years and years ago thinking his name was incredibly hard to pronounce, and I remember looking it up more recently, and it wasn't. And so I thought it was just like, oh, I must have misremembered that.
First couple of seasons, at least, of Deep Space Nine, he's credited as Siddig Affedel. I believe he's Indian. I know Middle Eastern. And that's his original name, and I guess he felt the need to change it because maybe it was easier for people to pronounce it or something. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why he did that.
Maybe he saw Chiwetel Ejiofor in a movie and was like, okay, maybe I should make it a little bit easier.
Recently in a captain's log, I said his name and was horrified I would say it wrong. Because I was just like, I always pronounce this wrong. And I read it on camera, and somebody left a comment and was like, Cap was horrified you'd say this wrong. He said it absolute perfectly 100%. Nice, I could not here right now do that again without looking at it. But anyway, no, I always thought it was interesting that you take your first name and make it your last name.
For
Alexander Siddig.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he was Siddig Affedel, and he took Siddig and he made it his last name, and I just always thought that was kind of interesting.
Oh, I always wanted to go by D. Brian Gidlow for some reason. I wanted to be one of those people, like J.K. Rowling.
But yeah, he's brilliant in that show. And anyway, the only reason I brought that up is because, like I said, they pronounce it right there. And their Bruce Wayne has that kid. He has the coolest way of pronouncing it. He somehow or rather finds a way to make Ra's like 3 syllables. It's like Ra's. Like I can't do it, but it sounds really cool when he says it.
It's like Rick in The Walking Dead. Coral. No, it's Carl. It's your son, Carl. Coral. All right.
Yeah, no, coral is in the ocean. Anyway,
no, there's coral everywhere.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the episode, shall we? If you want,
we probably should.
If you want to watch it with us, make sure you're watching the 4th episode of season 3. It's The Demon's Quest. It's a Batman animated series. We're watching it on Amazon, so if you want to sync with us nigh perfectly, go there, and otherwise you can pull out your DVD however you want to watch it, get it to timestamp 0, get ready to press play whenever I say now, and otherwise you can just listen to us chat, and we'll do our level best to provide a little bit of context about the episode as we're talking about it, but this will be more fun to listen to if you listen to it along with us. Here we go. Dan, are you ready, sir?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Everybody, please press play right now.
Was it tough to not say no?
Yeah, I thought about doing it like that, and then I was, it's overkill. You know, it's overkill.
Plus, people gotta account for hitting now, and maybe if they heard you say it weird, they might not hit it right then, and might just cause a whole thing.
Right. It's all about messing with expectations. You gotta subvert.
You gotta subvert
expectations.
So I was teasing at the end of last episode. I had a special connection with this episode. This is actually the first episode I ever remember watching.
Is it really?
As a child. Well, I mean, I'm sure I watched the show, but this is the first one I ever remember, like, actually watching. I vividly remember Ra's al Ghul coming out of that pit going nuts.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, as a kid, and this aired in
95?
Something like that, 95, 96? Something like that. No, it would have been 95 before the Switch, right?
The show starts in 93.
Yeah, and the Switch was in 96, where they...
97, I think. But anyway, yeah.
97, Ivan lady.
Nice lady!
There's nice lady in the window. But yeah, no, this is first episode I remember seeing. A few things, like there's few shows or movies that I remember like that. Because I remember seeing Lion King in the theater for the first time. This is some really
what
great
a
imagery
stark
right here.
contrast with the animation we saw last episode, right? Like
I know
it's wonderfully simple, but it's the atmosphere is back, and I just love like having Robin in the darkness like that, and then the way lightning hits him. It's wonderful. Anyway, I'm sorry. Tell your story.
Oh, that was pretty much it. It was just you have those vivid memories of things, and this episode was one of them, and it's a big part of my childhood.
The first time I remember seeing the name Ubu was in the Versus System card game.
This was the first and last place I have seen Ubu.
And I'm sure I saw him in this, but I didn't remember that's what his name was.
Ubu.
The action figure came with that weird mask he's wearing. And I don't know if that's a comic book thing or not. Because,
the Jackal mask?
Yeah, because we never use it now. Like, it never... I don't think we ever see it.
No, they do the wolf's head stuff.
Oh,
like that's
hold on. This is really unusual, isn't it? Is this the first time... Two possible firsts here. Is this the first time we've had a cold open?
Oh, man. You're absolutely right. I didn't even notice.
And is it also the first time?
Well, not a cold open because they had the intro. Although I guess that was for
you're right.
But
a teaser before you get to the title card. I don't know if we've ever done that. And I don't think it's the first time we've had a title card that's not actually a title card. It's just the title over the image you're looking at, because it sits there like it's a title card. And then suddenly it's animated. It's really cool. They're making an event out of this, is the point I'm getting at.
You cut out there for me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying, they're making an event out of this.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It is!
Save him if you can, Batman.
Yeah, so that line was really weird because when not the one you said, I mean, that was weird, but it was fun. But no, when he's like, it can't be, like, usually you'd think it was a reveal in the picture of, like the person that did it or something. No, instead, Robin got kidnapped. It can't be. It's kind of weird.
That image was kind of
gruesome.
Spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not, really gruesome, but yeah. So here,
certainly violent.
So here's the great David Warner, who is one of the best voice casting choices in this whole show, I think.
More Star Trek and a lot more. We're going very Star Trek with this episode.
Right. I love him in everything. We just reviewed
TMNT.
yeah, right.
That was my first introduction
With
to
the
him.
giant dandelions.
Yeah, the field of dandelions. Man, that looks so awesome to just hold. As a kid, I was just like, I want to cut that and hold it like they are.
Did I tell
don't
you
know why.
that I found a cosplay shredder at a convention last year holding one of those?
Really?
It was the coolest thing, yeah.
Oh, man.
I shook his hand. I thought his costume was so great.
People are getting clever with cosplay nowadays.
Yeah, he did, and the mask was specifically that mask. And he didn't do Super Shredder or anything. He did that mask. It was great.
I think this episode does a poor job at seeding the fact that the person who kidnapped Robin was not Ra's al Ghul, because you have a very extravagant looking villain, and then there's this very extravagant looking man who shows up immediately after and is like, my daughter was also kidnapped.
No, you're absolutely right. Like, is it really much of a reveal when you finally find out that he kidnapped them both? Like, I think here's the thing. I think it works for Batman, and it shouldn't, right? You should be like, wow, is that an infinity teapot?
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. An infinity teapot into infinity gauntlet.
Infinity stones in it. Well, we know it's got to be Ra's al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul. Look how powerful he must be with all the infinity gems in his teapot.
Would you like to drink from the soul cup?
How did I not notice that when I watched this
Oh my gosh.
in preparation for this?
It reminded me of just like, I don't know what. It just looked like he got that from the troves of King Nebuchadnezzar or something.
Yeah. Yeah. They're drinking out of the Holy Grail right now.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in Calcutta. No, but what I was going to say earlier is, weirdly, like, Batman is the world's greatest detective. I guess he should have maybe figured this out earlier than he has, and yet I think in the episode, from his perspective, it plays okay, but for me, I called it.
Yeah. I mean, as a kid, I didn't know, but I mean, just, you can look at it just with common sense and
Yeah.
as an adult, for sure.
So the colors on Batman's costume in this particular episode are interesting because they've gone darker than normal, and I'm not sure if it was intentional or not. But if you look at it, the gray on the suit is darker than normal, and there are shots where it almost looks like black on black. Like, it's never quite as dark as the cape and the trunks, but he is essentially wearing the Batman Returns suit.
That's true. I mean, if he went dark with it, yeah, but it is going darker. I don't know. You think that's what they were doing it specifically for?
No,
or you just think it was.
But it kept reminding me of that. Like, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that was just an accident or if. I mean, I doubt it. It's weird. This is the only episode I've seen so far that has that.
Well, they
maybe
play
it's
around with
be
a little bit because later,
maybe it's supposed to
later
just be
we
like,
see him shirtless and like in different combinations of it. And
but I thought maybe it was just a strange color correction thing. But I think it's got to be intentional.
Well, he's in a different land, too. Maybe they're just trying to color it in a different light in general. It's not Gotham's light.
Exactly.
It's Calcutta's light.
I think that's what, by Calcutta's light!
Does he only globetrot in Ra's al Ghul episodes and or stories?
So far in this show, yes. I mean, no, not in the comics. I mean, he does more of that in other places, but,
Yeah.
Once again, we got this first person, or not first person, but like, straight on point of view
falling shot
with a car where I think that looks better than it did last episode when we were talking about that. But it's
certainly they did perspective a little bit better.
It's almost surreal looking, right? Where it should be like a creepy dream sequence or something.
Yeah. It was a little almost not fisheye, but you could see over the horizon a little bit. It was definitely very.
Dan, I'm going to start calling rich people the overclass.
The overclass.
We've all been duped by the overclass.
We call them the overclass because we overthrow them. I came up with that. He's very... Ra's al Ghul's very possessive of the things he comes up with. I like how his hair is glowing, very Tron style there. Also David Warner.
David Warner. Batman...
I was sad he didn't come back.
Batman, your gesturing is a little over the top this episode. And you'll
Otherwise-
do the forcing! No one can see what I'm doing right now.
Oh man, I need to gift that Ra's al Ghul facepalm later.
It's always about the facepalm gifts.
It is. You just gotta scour the old cartoons.
I like this running gag of Ubu, like, grabbing Batman whenever he gets in front
Look at
of
that shot.
Yeah, in front of
Sorry.
Raish. No, it's awesome. And he's like disrespecting him, and he constantly calls him infidel. And the way he turns that around at the end is pretty fun. I think this episode does a really good job of playing as its own episode while still being the first of a two-parter, right? Like,
Well, this is the episode I remember. Like, this is the one I remember
look
the
how
most
black
of.
his suit is right now.
I know. Well, there's like when he was running up the stairs as well into the temple. It was just very dark against the sky.
Looks great.
It's very dark. I think they're just trying to play this as a darker story with, they're just literally going dark with the lighting. So they're doing great with the light shafts and everything.
This is a very Scott Snyder thing to have Batman fighting big cats. That's a thing he made sure and got into, I want to say 0 year. He had Batman fight a tiger or something. It was pretty great.
I think I just picked up the one where him and Two-Face are on the run. This is my first tiptoe into New 52. I haven't really read any of New 52, so I have a couple. I have Court of Owls and stuff that I haven't read, which I've heard is great, but
I like all the things about
there's a
it.
lot that I need to catch up on.
Court of Owls has one of my favorite single-issue comics of all time.
Nice.
Because they do some really fun things with perspective and comic art. For the sake of disorientation, there are pages where you have to turn the whole book. And it's really cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's creative. Speaking of creative, he just gassed a panther in his cape.
Only Batman would come up with that.
Now, sir, if you ever come across a panther...
Now, that's a... Here's how to gas it. You remember you have a cape.
Remember, take off your cape.
See, that's why Ra's al Ghul is such a worthy adversary to Batman, or Batman's such a worthy... Because they both can do that with their capes. If Ra's went up against a panther, he would do the same thing.
Yeah, you could cape and gas. The old cape and gas routine.
Well, see, that is some old-school detective work there. Like, we found the fingernail going across the map.
Tracing the route. Lucky.
Like, that is some Sherlock Holmes stuff right there. Well done.
There was some Cheeto dust that led the way.
Something that is...
After you.
See, this... Yeah, that's great.
So
Batman
great.
smiling in the show is always fun. We're just like, oh, look, the Paramount logo.
What the hell?
My favorite, or excuse me, one of the things that tells you that things are getting really serious in the show is when Batman has to take off his cape. When that happens, you know something's going down.
Oh, here's a little Batman toy right here. Anytime Batman's wearing anything else on top of his suit, it just looks like an action figure to me.
Alpine skiing Batman. Yeah. Okay,
oh,
that I don't know if that's an emoting look Batman gives in the show anywhere else. When he raises an eyebrow, that is some Deadpool level emoting through a mask. That's great. Oh yeah, and this action figure totally should have happened because it would have come with a parachute and see he's like floating over the Paramount logo now.
Yeah. And a Swedish holiday alternate outfit. Whoa.
Oh, here comes the torpedo. Fire one!
Well, that was rude of you not to take the bullet for them there.
And see, this is supposed to, I think, be part of the red herring.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Any story where, once again, this just has a lot of the cliches of, it's the person who hired you, usually.
Yeah, and I think it's important to remember that some of this was straight out of the initial Ra's al Ghul comics, because that is Denny O'Neil.
Oh, certainly.
And so he's writing that stuff here. I sadly have still never gone back and actually read that stuff, so I only know it peripherally and from what people have told me about it. But I have read some Globetrotting Batman by Dennis O'Neil. He does Sword of Azrael, which I'm reviewing in Batcap: The 48-Hour Halloween. And by I'm reviewing, I mean I've written that already. And
Nice.
And he does a similar thing in that here, where like Batman's in a helicopter and it gets shot down and he has to jump out of it, and he has to walk in the snow, and like all of that is in Sword of Azrael, which he would have already written 4 or 5 years before this. So he seems to really like the globetrotting stuff. And there's a whole hilarious thing about Switzerland and Swiss chocolate in that.
It's a whole subplot. It's a thing.
No, but there's a weird scene where they talk about like how the Swiss fajitas would be better if they had chocolate in them, and I don't know what he's talking about. And yeah, it's a little preview of Batcap: The 48-Hour Halloween. If that show
I'm loving the teases.
Ever comes out,
it will.
Wow, that looks really serious.
Just what we were talking about earlier.
Shadow work, man, it's gorgeous.
I know, it's comparative to the last episode. This is it's so much better.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you skip the previous episode, and I don't know if we're watching these in the order they were actually animated in, because there's no way to know that. But
yeah,
I don't think. But anyway, if you skipped last episode, you would see almost a direct progression from the shadow work in the Batgirl episode to this.
Oh, certainly. I mean, I'd imagine maybe are some episodes just budgeted less than others?
Probably.
I mean,
and
just,
there's like different houses that work on the the actual animation production, and is he creepier when he's clapping? I think he's creepier when he's clapping.
Were they trying to make it look like he was blinking there?
I don't know. Yeah, that was weird.
They had like weird things on his eyes.
See, no one is surprised by that, especially because...
Start clapping again.
Well, okay. I was going to say, partly it's because I know that action figure came with that mask.
Oh, yeah?
So, when I see him at the beginning, I'm immediately like, well, that's Ra's al Ghul. He's got that...
See, they like in the Arkham games, they kind of do like a wolf thing a little bit. Like I know they have some.
Oh, I forgot. He says that he's
Knight.
known it from almost the beginning, and he's just playing along. So it does work okay because.
Oh yeah, he knows.
Yeah. So
That's true.
So I mean, I guess the question is: are we supposed to be as smart as Batman, or are we supposed to be? Oh my God! Good job, Batman! I never would have suspected.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, maybe that's for the adults. The kids are like, and the adults are like, well, yeah.
Because, I mean, like, Batman's doing some decent detective work in this episode, but I don't know that Ra's al Ghul is doing the best, like, manipulation techniques. But then he's also just, trying to test him. So maybe, ultimately, it kind of doesn't matter if Batman knows or not. It's just, the only thing that really matters is that he plays along.
And it also helps children with deduction and stuff like that. I was one of the reasons why I was into Batman was he was a detective. I loved Sherlock Holmes as a child too. I loved that he deduced things, and I liked the breakdown, even if it was somewhat simple to figure out.
Have you seen Murder on the Orient Express yet?
No, I haven't. My girlfriend and I are gonna go check it out soon.
Amazing. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's brilliant. But anyway, so, sorry, we talked over it. I got to mention this. I don't think this is intentional, but it looks like this is what's happening. The reaction that Batman has when Talia moves her hair from her other eye makes it look like that works as a mask, and he doesn't know it's her until she moves her hair out of her face. And I'm pretty sure that's not what's going on, but it looks like, oh, it's you! Wow, that is a provocative outfit you've got on there, Talia al Ghul.
That's how Talia rolls. Except for the two sons of Krypton. Was he ever... he never played Jor-El,
but he could have. He would have been a brilliant Jor-El, yeah.
He would have been a great Jor-El.
I mean, he's got the voice for any Kryptonian. He could have been anybody. But yeah.
He could have been Brainiac.
Yeah, he would have been a great Brainiac, too. Although the Brainiac we got was great. And we got Jeffrey Combs as Brainiac in Injustice 2, and that was really cool.
What? Jeffrey Combs is Brainiac in Injustice 2? Yep. Brunt, FCA. It's my favorite character on Deep Space Nine.
Magus Brunt.
Two people got that reference, but I'm glad.
No, it was like 5, probably.
5 people. Okay.
I mean, we've probably got some DS Bab 5.
Oh, certainly.
Viewers
certainly
in the audience. Not that we've gotten to any of those episodes yet. Not that we've gotten to good DS9 yet, but we're gaining. We're almost there. But anyway, really dating this commentary.
By the way, the Bat Year hasn't come out yet, and just munching other projects that are going on right now.
Yeah. And Murder on the Orient Express just came
Yes!
out last week.
Thor Ragnarok, man. Ragnarok in the box office. Justice League.
Soon, 2 days. This won't even have this will come out after that's happened already.
This is really, every single time I see the scene, this is the scene specifically. Like, I remember the bubbling pit. I remember Talia, like, all this
ends
stuff.
On
this is what I remember.
Quite a cliffhanger. Like, it really, that image sticks with you.
Yeah. Well, I remember. Yeah. Well, I remember it ending, and I thought that was the end of the episode when I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is, but it's a two-parter.
Well, I thought. Yeah, I didn't realize there was a second part when I was a child.
Sure. It's really cool that they even thought to go this far and do this episode. One thing I really like about this is that we're kind of seeing the gap bridge between the street level sort of relatively more grounded world that we've had in the show so far, starting to broach into the supernatural a little bit. And I'm glad that we have this kind of stuff before we go full tilt mysticism and cosmic stuff in Justice League. It's really cool that we have this kind of gap bridge, and that we do this stuff before we. I want to say before we get to Superman, although that show might have already started by now. I'm not sure. I think that is after the season though.
Oh, it certainly would help to blend for.
I don't remember what year
before
that
the
started
retool
though.
And...
Yeah, that's horrifying.
Yeah. Well, this is really. It's always trippy coming back to this because it's.
Yeah, I mean we're pushing the envelopes.
It's one very surreal imagery, but
we really want to give children nightmares.
Yeah, I mean it stuck with me. This, it's like the episode of Next Generation with the beings that steal you in your sleep that click. Like that.
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuck with me as well. Like those. It's the scary stuff that always stuck in my mind. But I love it for it.
Yeah, but that episode is hilarious because they're like, make a table, and then the holodeck makes a table. Like, it was exactly like that table.
yes, exactly. And then they just make minor adjustments to it.
Yeah, it's like, no, it was a steel table. It was just like that. So, yeah. This is definitely one of the better episodes of the show. And
the animation, some great animation this episode.
Gorgeous. Yeah, I mean you can tell the stories people were excited about and the stories that they were more lukewarm on.
Yeah, it seemed like they put a lot more effort into this episode.
I would go as far as to say that we've got the kind of care here that we have with Two-Face, where we're excited to like finally bring that character to screen.
Yes. Well, I mean, sometimes you just come around to the big stories, and like you said, they to treat ones with a little bit more care than others.
Yeah, I mean, like kids going into the show, a lot of them, even at this point, obviously would have already been familiar with Joker and Penguin and Catwoman, but not Ra's al Ghul. This would have been a lot of people's first introduction to that character.
Yeah, it was mine. It was mine for sure. And after that, it came around to Batman Begins, and then the Under the Red Hood animation, Jason Isaacs voicing Ra's al Ghul, which again another really great pick.
Yeah, I always forget he's in that.
Yeah, he's not in it too much, but I thought it was memorable for how short it was.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him in it and being happy that he is popping up again in something.
Well, folks, thanks a lot for listening. We're going to do the second part next week, so tune in for that. I'm very excited about it, and it'll be interesting to see if Dan likes that episode as well as this first one, or if he thinks of them as one episode. So we'll talk about that when we get there.
We'll find out.
But Dan, thanks for doing it with me as always, and we will see everybody again next time. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Dan's News. Bat Heads.